All right. I'm Jason Ordini with the Ridgewood International Film Festival, and I'm here with Pat Battistini, and we are going to talk a little bit about his films that are entered this year. Thanks, Pat, for being with us for this interview. It's really good to see you.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Great. So you have two films that were entered into the festival. You have Mrs. Rossi the Third, Part
Yeah.
Three. I'm sorry, and you have Tin Can. Two different movies, both kind of feel good movies in different ways. I know Mrs. Rossi. We won't give anything away, but it may not be a feel good ending for her. Uh, but I definitely want to talk about Mrs. Rossi, the film, and just to talk a little bit about Tin Can. It's a really heartwarming film, and I really love the way you shot it. Give us a little bit of background about your inspiration and what went into making that film.
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me, and thanks everybody at Ridgewood for including the films into the festival. I'm fortunate if I get one film in, so getting two is just completely amazing. But with the inspiration for Tin Can, I actually had a friend of mine who is an actor, and he went to Ringling Brothers School for Clowning. That's when they used to do clowning. Now they just do the animation. But anyway, so I've known him for years, and he just posted something on Facebook. He's like, "Hey, I'm looking for projects, like actors usually do." And so I had this idea about for some reason, the border, and I got down to writing and things like that, and that was the beginning of how I wrote the film. And then, unfortunately, the climate of our political outlook on life, to put it nicely,
Mhm.
changed immensely. And so I rewrote the script and included some of that in there as well.
Okay.
Really, that was the genesis to the story.
Excellent. And it was funny because I'm watching it and I'm like, wow, this actor's really good. And he's juggling, he's on the ball, he's doing all these things. So he actually is a clown and an actor.
Yes, he is. Yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't clown that much anymore.
Okay.
But for years, he traveled with Ringling when they actually had a circus.
Wow, that's really interesting. Really interesting. Great film. I really enjoyed it, and and I of course I loved Mrs. Rossi. I thought it was hysterical. It was great. Give me a little bit about your background, who you are as a filmmaker, and how you got into this.
Sure. Really, we all have our stories and where we started from. But I was a teacher. I was a teacher and a football coach for many years. And I just always had this love. I took a class in college in the arts, and I went to school right outside of Chicago. So a buddy of mine started taking class at Second City.
Mhm.
And so I was like, "Oh, I'll go with you." And I started doing it. I really enjoyed it. Long story short, loved coaching and teaching. I actually wanted to work in front of the camera more. I did so for many years. And then when YouTube started, I realized there was a platform to make things. And I thought, well, I'll write stuff for myself as an actor. Then that morphed into like, I really enjoy the writing and directing more than the acting. And so that's how I ended up working behind the camera more. In regards to how the Miss Rossi series started from that as my writing, directing, really as a filmmaker, the hardest thing to get is a location because you can write the best script ever, but if you
Mhm.
don't have a location, you can't do it. So my grandfather migrated from a small town up in the mountains in northern Italy near Parma, and we were going back to visit my cousins there, and village of 600 people. And after 2 weeks there, you're kind of like, what do I do now? Well, my cousin owned a store, and so I knew I could get the store, and I thought, well, it'd be fun to write a little 5-minute short about some Italian guy. For some reason, I hadn't. Well, really, I saw these two old Italian guys. It looked like they were arguing, and I thought they were going to kill themselves. And I asked my cousin, like, what are they talking about? And he's listening for a while, and he said, well, they're talking about Parmesan cheese. And I just started laughing because they're so passionate about everything. So I thought, okay, I really want to write a story about an old Italian guy, keep it in Italian. And really that kind of morphed into the woman coming in the store who was Miss Rossi. And that was the very first Miss Rossi was shot at my cousin's store in the town
Okay.
where my grandfather's from.
All right. Now I missed out on Miss Rossi 1 and Miss Rossi 2. So do you have it up on a YouTube channel that if we wanted to see that?
I don't, but I'm putting it together right now. Miss Rossi 2 is finishing its festival run just in
Okay.
time for Miss Rossi 3. But I'm actually putting together just a Miss Rossi website right now, and it's going to be missrossi.com.
Okay.
And it's going to have everything behind the scenes, the cast, the stories, and things like that. So people will be able to go there hopefully within a month.
Great. That'll be excellent. Tell me a little bit about the inspiration for the film. Now you talked, about the original one. This one, different flavor. We've got a little bit of the mob. We've got a little bit of mistaken identity. Of course, we have gnocchi, which any good Italian movie's going to have some pasta in it, right?
Right.
Uh, where'd you come up with the inspiration for it?
After Miss Rossi 2, Miss Rossi 2 had a wonderful festival run. People really enjoyed it. And everybody's like, when's Miss Rossi 3 coming? I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing a Miss Rossi 3 because it'd be hard to top two. And then I was actually watching, I don't know if you saw the series, The Offer, about how they made The Godfather.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
great series. So I thought, you know what? That is the one thing we are fixated on is the mob, the mafia. So what would happen if I got Miss Rossi involved with the wrong people by accident? Because that's the through line through all of the films is case of mistaken identity. Maria
Mhm.
Rossi, like John Smith here in America, and so she always gets really mixed up as the wrong Rossi, Maria Rossi. And I thought if I got the mob involved, that would make it probably as good as two, or if not funnier than number two. And that was the only way I was going to make it because I wanted to go out on a high note. So
Excellent. So, will there be a Miss Rossi 4?
I have it written. And again, it's back to that whole thing about the locations because I really set the bar really high on it. I'm not going to say what it's about or anything because if
Okay.
I can't get but I have number four written, and I think it's a pretty funny story. I do at least.
Excellent. Yeah. I think, like you said, she's an identifiable character. It's somebody who's fun. Your actors were great. Can you talk a little bit about the process of getting your actors for this film?
Sure. Yeah, I've been very fortunate with the actors. It all started years ago. I did one of my first films in Italy. It was a drama, and I was just learning how to do some filmmaking. And I met a talented actor here in LA. His name is Pasquale Esposito, and he's from Italy. And so when I did Miss Rossi, the first one, I needed somebody as a storekeeper, and I asked Pasquale, and he, of course, I said sure. So he was living in Italy at the time, and I said, hey, do you know anybody who can play this Miss Rossi character? And he introduced me to Sonia. And Sonia was, oh my God, she's been a godsend. And then from there, I've just really, all the other cast, I've asked the Italian actors, hey, can you refer somebody? And the one thing that I've been amazed with is the actors in Italy are all they're all stage trained. I mean, they really take it seriously. So that stage training for them, whereas here and nothing wrong with the actors here in America, but they come prepared. They've got their characters, they've got everything down, and they've known other actors. So I didn't audition anybody for any of my films. They was all on referrals from the other actors, and I've
Wow.
been so lucky. Yeah, I know because like for Miss Rossi too, it was a bigger cast. We probably had about maybe 8 actors in it. We met on Friday night. We all stayed in a little hotel, the same hotel. We had dinner, and we started shooting on Saturday. And half the people didn't know each other, but you would never guess it because they're so good and prepared when they show up on set. It's been a great experience.
That's excellent. Uh, how about the language? Do you speak fluent Italian or?
My Italian's terrible.
Okay.
My son actually can speak very well, but my Italian's really bad. So what I do is I write the script. My cousin in Italy over there, she is it's my cousin's daughter. She's fluent in English, but also my son's Italian teacher here in the States. She's been around so much because the difference is the cultural difference in the humor. And the Italians don't find these films funny at all. Maybe number three they may, but the one first and second they don't. And so when I tell them I have my son's teacher, she can really define. She knows American humor because she's been in the States for so long. And then I get it back over to my other cousin, and we massage it back and forth. So the wording is great.
All right, so we had a little technical difficulty there. So this is our two-part interview, and we'll get back to Pat was talking a little bit about the language and what the Italians found funny and what they didn't find funny with the
Right.
script.
Yes, really. So the bottom line was that I always just had to just assure them that, hey, this is going to be funny. I know it's not funny to you. Just please deliver everything. Do not omit, because sometimes they, like, even in Miss Rossi 3, there's a really funny line in there, and I was watching, we were filming it, and I didn't hear it, and I was like, guys, where's that line at? They go, well, we don't have that here in Italy. And I was like, guys, it's not for Italy. It's for the American audience. So that was the one thing that really, and it was, fortunately, we had my co-producer Graziano and Miss Rossi herself, Sonia, came over for a fest recently, and they saw firsthand the response from the audience and the humor, and they just looked at me and they're like, "Okay, Pat, we believe you."
You know what you're doing. For
I
sure.
try.
For sure. Well, absolutely wonderful film. I wish you nothing but the best with it. Tin Can was great as well, and I'm looking forward to actually getting to see Miss Rossi 1 and 2. So please, let us know when when that website is up and running, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are interested in her exploits, and then we're looking forward to Miss Rossi 4, maybe next year. She's in the festival again.
Well, I would love to do that. But again, thank you guys so much just for the opportunity to screen, and we truly appreciate it.
Thanks, Pat, and it was a pleasure talking to you, and I thank you very much.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, you have a great night.
You too.
Bye bye.